Hi, today I want to make a video which is very different from what I usually create in this channel. So I want to talk about how create my own nodes and how I make nodes. Why do I make nodes in the first place as a software engineer? Whenever I go to office, I usually keep making all these nodes as well as whenever I'm going to an hackathon or going to an event or just in general. From maintaining a personal to-dos versus creating an actual notes for the topics which I learn. I use a specific pattern of making notes and I have specific tools to create all these notes. And today I want to talk about how I do this and why I do this and this idea behind setting up the notes. You can take few ideas from my note making style and then you can create your own notes as well. So I'll talk about why I'm doing it. What are the criterias I have behind creation of my node, and then how I do it. I was doing it in a certain way, and then I moved on to do it in this way, and I will talk about the pros and cons and everything. That will be useful. I use Obsidian for node making, and in this video, towards the end, I would show how to set up Obsidian and how I set up Obsidian, because Obsidian is a plain slate and anybody can set their own versions of it. And what are the customizations I've made to make sure I write a nodes in very efficiently. So let's get started. Everything is just on Google search away or a ChatGPT search away. Why should we first of all make all these kinds of nodes? The first perspective I want to throw in is humans can't remember so many things. We have a very limited memory to remember things. And suppose you do Python today, tomorrow you are expected to do some other stuff or even something very unique to Python. Um, it is highly impossible for you to remember what you did this week. Like for my example, I do from systems to web, the usual web development to systems to infra to YAML to everything. So since I do all of these things, I need a specific way to retain this information on my head, and it is highly impossible to remember all those nuances and all those tiny little facts. Eventually, when you do the same thing again and again, it registers in your mind, everything is fine. But until then, there needs to be a way to remember all those things. It's just an extension of my memory. That's how I see my notes. It's just a small brain cell of me, which has all the information. I'm outsourcing it to it so that whenever I need, I just go to my brain cell, look out for it, and then understand the details, feed it in my brain. My brain acts as a cashier, and then I would just use those information. If I'm looking at it more than once or a couple of times, and then it eventually stores in my brain. So that is one reason on why I take notes. The second reason is time saving. You might ask, despite we all use ChatGPT now, how does it save a lot of time? Let's take an example. I'll go to ChatGPT and suppose I want to look at some topic. Suppose I want to know what is. So I want to check what guardrail is. I'll add in detail as well. So this is what we do, right? We wanted to know about something in detail. So we just go ask ChatGPT about it. Even though you ask ChatGPT to explain things in detail, it is 100% sure there are things that you don't understand here. Suppose, for example, so here there is a word called API guardrail, and it says validating input output type, authenticated check, rate limiting, etc. But I don't understand what does it mean. I will again ask explain API guardrail in detail, and this will spit some text. When I read it, I won't understand certain parts. I would again ask, and this recursively goes on and on and on. You get it right. Now, what happens when I wanted to look out for this for the next time? So I need to do all these steps again and again to have the same clarity that I will have after reading this. But what if I, after reading all these things, I make a proper note system so that I don't have to come and search at ChatGPT, and I can straight away get all those results in my notes app. This is a very important aspects of note taking for me, because for me, depth is everything. Every topic I take, I go until the maximum depth of concept so that I understand everything in detail. The next thing is, what are the criteria I have for note making? Everybody can have different ways of making notes. It is up to you. Each one has their unique style and unique way of note taking, and everything has their advantage and disadvantage. It all depends on what are all the criteria you have for note taking. These criteria are very individualistic, and it doesn't. It might work for a few guys. It might not work for others. So I have few criteria when I wanted to decide how I'm gonna take notes. The first criteria is I will be anywhere in the world or any place in Chennai or anywhere, but I need to be able to look at these notes. So this rules out writing physical notes. And the another reason why I don't want to write physical note is I want to have pictures in it. I want to link through. Suppose I read one document, one website or one blog which has every details which I needed. All I can do is I can just copy paste that link in my note along with my general writing notes, so that when I come to that part, I would directly go to that link and look at it and then understand things clearly, which I can't do it in a physical note. I'm a huge visual learner. I draw most of the time. So for this reason, as well as for my YouTube channel, I have a drawing pad with me, digital drawing pad, and I have connected Excali draw system into my notes so that I can draw and then add those drawings into my note make. Since writing physical notes is out of the equation, now we are gonna write notes digitally. Why I don't prefer Notion or some other proprietary software is I don't have control over the source file. Unless and until you use a proprietary tool, the notes doesn't belong to you. It just belongs to that proprietary tooling, even if you are in a premium version. So the best possible way I could think of is to just write plain markdown and push it to some version control management system, like any source control management like Fossil, if you have a local Fossil setup, or a Git bucket, or whatever you want, or you can even use GitHub. So I just write a plain markdown. I was just writing plain markdown files, and then I would push it to some kind of an versioning system. And that versioning system will have, suppose if I use GitLab, it will go to the GitLab, and then I can sign in into GitLab wherever I wanted to at whatever location, and then download the notes. I'll open VS Code, and then I would write, like for example, this was what I was following until a few months back. So I opened the markdown file in VS Code, and then I keep writing notes in markdown format. So markdown format is a very simple format which is universally used everywhere. So at the end of the day, all you have is a bunch of MD files, and that's it. You can take this MD files, open it wherever you want, then just open it in text editor. It will still be the same. You don't have to manually format anything. All you need to do is write it in the markdown syntax, and everything will be formatted perfectly. So I had two repositories here. One repository is this brain cells, which is just extension of my computer science understanding, which has all my notes, and another is my personal to-do, which will have the day-to-day tasks which I need to do, as well as the YouTube videos which I need to make, the project ideas, and everything, every smaller details which are not exactly notes and which comes under this to-do, the interesting blogs which I see online. All those random dumps I have it in that personal to-do. So I was maintaining two different bunch of files. One is this brain cells and another is the personal to-do. And over a point of time, it got really difficult to maintain. And there are a lot of problems in writing markdown files in this way. Suppose you want to import an image here. You see one beautiful image and you wanted to use that image. Then what you need to do is first you need to create a folder, paste that image, number it up, and then reference it in this file. Plus I can't do spell check here directly, so that if I need to do that, I need to be installing some VS Codes extension, and there are a lot of small helps which I might need for writing. All those things are not there if I write it in plain markdown file. You can see there is a repository, there is a folder for Linux, and there is folder for network, and there is folder for operating systems. There can be files which can interlink with each other. Like if I write something about OS, and I can, and there is something about containers in somewhere, I can link this container to. I wanted to link this container to the OS, or sometimes I write about few Linux toolings in under Linux file. That all those Linux commands should be used in the operating system. So I need to somehow reference those files. So I need to be able to move from one file to another file to another, and so on. And finally, I need to be able to see what are the references I made so that it will be easy for me to navigate. So to solve this problem and all the bunch of problems I told now, I started using Obsidian. There are a bunch of predefined features as well as a bunch of community plugin. And what I like the most is the graph view of how I've connected things so that I can easily navigate here. You can see here, these are the connections I've made, or links that I've made. I follow a system. I follow a hybrid system of Zettelkasten and then as well as my own folder structure. So it's just a blend of two different systems. So now I have this. I'm numbered from 00 to 900, so that while searching it is very efficient. Suppose to search here, if I wanted to search something in computer science, I can just start with 300 so that I can now search to a small spectrum of files rather than searching all over the place. This is one reason why I am numbering the folders, just like how we identify files in a library. That's the whole idea. So in library, you have all fixed numbers and fixed range of numbers for certain categories of books, and that is very efficient for the librarian to just go and pick that book, right? I am using the same idea. So if you want something related to computer science, it will be under 300 something, and if it is my personal to-dos, it will be under 200 something. So if I wanted to write some personal to-dos and everything, it will be under 200. So I can just, while searching, I can directly do this Control O, and then while searching I can type 200 and then search for my personal notes. So that's the reason behind numbering my folders here. Now let me brief you guys about the problems which I had in plain Markdown and how I'm rectifying it in Obsidian. The first problem is image. Here it is very straightforward. If you paste an image and then it just pastes the image and then it automatically references it. One. The next problem I had is with the theming and stuff, which is very straightforward. You can do all those themes and everything at Obsidian. And then I need spell checker, which I didn't have in plain Markdown, that is inbuilt in Obsidian. Plus there is this whole plethora of community plugins in Obsidian which you can use for any purposes. I've installed a bunch of community plugins which just help me to efficiently write notes at Obsidian. Obsidian by default itself is a very good note making app, and compared to the other alternative which I told. One good feature of Obsidian is everything is in local. So when you write something and you save, it is in your local file, and it is up to you to back up those files in however way you want. If you wanted to backup, you can do whatever kind of backup you want. And there are bunch of community plugins which helps you to do that. For example, there is this Git integration which you can use to push it to GitHub. There is this OneDrive integration. There is this Google Drive integration. There is an official integration called Obsidian Sync, where you need to pay a certain rupees to sync between multiple devices. Apart from the sync feature, everything in Obsidian is free and it is very community driven. So that is one advantage, right? Now I have all my notes with me and not depend on some third party software. Let me go through what are all the community plugins I have. The first plugin I wanted to say is this Vim mode. So this Vim mode helps me to write nodes through Vim bindings. Since I used NeoVim for my NeoVim and VS Code Vim bindings for my normal day-to-day coding, so it is still an extension of it. So it is very easy for me to navigate and write notes. For example, if I need to write something, I go to the insert mode and then write something. If I need to undo it, I will undo it in a click. If I need to delete this word, then I will do DAW. If I need to insert something, I will write it. If I need to move to the next character, I will just type www and move on. If I need to navigate, I will use HJKL and then navigate from one place to another. If I need to move from one blank space to another, I will use the parenthesis and move. If I need to move to the top of the file, I will use GG. If I need to go to the bottom of the file, I will do capital G. And just there is whole lot of bindings. and whole lot of modes. I can go to visual mode and then copy the text and then yank it and do something else with it. You can just do whole lot Vim stuff here, which I will cover it in some other video. If you are interested in Vim bindings and if you are interested in Vim and Vim bindings and how it is efficiently helping me in writing code, I will cover it in some other video. So yeah, that is the first extension I will. This is not even community extension. This is just enabling the settings, and by default you can just use the Vim mode. Like a small plug, they have a Vim setting, but they don't have an Emacs setting. Remember that. But there will be definitely a community plugin for Emacs. Like there are like millions of community Obsidian community plugin. So whatever problem you have, you might find some plugin. Let me now go through few of the plugins which I have installed here. So the first important extension which I need is Git extension, because since all the files are in local, I need a mechanism to just take the backup of those files so that wherever I go, I'll be in a sync and it doesn't depend on my system alone. So there is this famous community plugin. So community plugins, you can find them in the settings and then community plugin and then browse. There will be like n number of community plugins in there. I'm still exploring the community plugins. So whenever I need something and if I don't have that, I just go look at the community plugins and find something and then use it. The second extension is Excalibur. So my whole life depends on Excalibur and visual learner. So it is very difficult for me to learn something or think about or brainstorm something without visually representing all those things. So all you need to just do is let's click the new drawing. This is after me installing the community plugin. You can always do it in the web and then copy paste it. But the advantage of doing it here is, see, the moment I click new drawing, I get the new drawing file, and then I would draw whatever I want or brainstorm whatever I want, and I can always export this as an image and then use it as part of my notes, as well as directly link this drawing to my notes. These are the advantages here. Suppose you go there, see there's an Excalibur and then you have all the drawings here. So you can keep adding up drawings and then you can reference it wherever you want. The next one is a code styler plugin. And see here, I have created a notes regarding Golang interface. So this has a snippet of code here, and because of the code styler plugin, I have this whole snippet of code perfectly linted, perfectly colored, as well as it has all the line numbers. So this is an advantage of this plugin, so that when I view this, I'll have all this perfectly lined and colored, which is easy for me to reference. Because as a programmer, major part is learning how to code, and it has a we always store a bunch of code snippets, right? So that's the reason I use this code styler. It just styles the code. So I have a plugin called advanced table. So if you are using Markdown in your day-to-day life, you will know how difficult it is to create Markdown tables. It's just you can't call that syntax is difficult, but it is very naggy because you need to do all those table structures and everything. So if you use this, you get tables like how you get it in an MS Word or Google Docs, and it is very easy for me to create all those tables and then fill in documents. So I use this advanced table for that reason. And then I need this relative number line for Vim mode. Example, this relative number line is very important for me because assume I am in this line. So this is the 68th line. So if I wanted to directly jump to this line, then all I need to do is 4k. Because how do I calculate 4? That is, I moved 4 lines relative to this line j, which is all Vim navigation. So to help, I don't have to manually calculate the line numbers. So I don't have to manually calculate the line numbers to move somewhere. Suppose I need to move to this line. Since this relative, if I wanted to move to that line, example, this line, this plugin helps me to find the relative position, relative numbering from the current line. So it is just easy for me. If I need to move here, all I need to do is I need to do 6k and I will move there instead of me manually calculating the numbers, the relative numbers from that line. So that's the reason I have that plugin. File Explorer node count just gives you the number of files here. Like in this algorithm, there are 3 files. In AIML, there are 7 files. In Postman Tudo, there are 40 files. And that's it about my custom plugins. And I keep adding these plugins whenever I need them. As of now, I'm good with this minimal setup. I hope you like this video. If you have an idea of creating your own note making system, this video might give you some ideas on how to go upon building. Let's catch up in some other video. Thank you.